probando. Over 40% of the websites of the entire internet are powered by WordPress. So there's a big chance that you watching this video right now actually have a website built in WordPress. I'll make a very simple suggestion. Get out of there and switch to Webflow. Keep watching this video so I can expand a little bit more on this idea. First off, let me tell you my backstory with WordPress. I actually love WordPress. When I started my web design career 10 years ago, I didn't know how to build. I couldn't program, and I've never been interested in that. I just wanted to design. But I started getting clients early on in the game asking for websites and e-commerce websites and different types of sites that could actually get things done. So I actually needed to find a way to make it happen. WordPress really empowered me as a web designer in my early 20s to actually build a career and be able to start freelancing and eventually even building my first agency back in the day. So yes, my heart is still with WordPress, but that doesn't mean that WordPress is the best technology for most businesses out there. And in this video, I want to address this main point. So why am I saying that WordPress is probably not the best option when it comes to picking a tech stack for your company website? First off, there are basic things you need to be aware of if you're about to pick WordPress. So when you work on WordPress, you will probably have to take care of most things you aren't even thinking about right now. That means taking care of the entire infrastructure the site sits on, the server or the hosting company, security, and that always translates to actually having a developer you can count on. And this is not necessarily having someone who can code. Usually you will need to find someone that's not only a dev, but is primarily a WordPress dev, someone that can code and solve different problems, but also work specifically within WordPress. This person will be doing maintenance, backups, plugins update, software update, and every time they do something like this on a month-to-month basis, they'll actually need to test the site and do a bunch of QA work to make sure nothing got broken while updating everything. And if your business is a holding company that runs a bunch of different websites, what I've just mentioned, you need to multiply that by all the companies you have. So that is a lot of maintenance work for just a development team. You'll also probably fall into the trap of plugin dependency, and this typically creates Frankenstein websites. What I mean by this is the fact that you will start with a simple site and start adding a few plugins to have some features. And then eventually you start adding more plugins to get more features. Eventually that will mean having a huge website with a huge plugin stack that you will actually need to update on a regular basis. And also that will probably become very expensive in year-to-year licenses. And then you'll also depend a lot on those companies who are running those plugins. You will actually rely on them when it comes to regular updates to make sure everything keeps running. Luckily, since WordPress is one of the largest internet tools out there, there's thousands of companies and developers behind it, a huge community. So you'll be able to basically find a lot of plugins that get updated on a regular basis and customer support from these businesses. But it is also very often that you'll find basically plugins disappearing because the companies behind them just shut down. Last but not least, I think WordPress is not a great tool when it comes to building a very, very custom design, except if you have the chance to work with a very expert kind of high-skilled team of custom WordPress developers that can build a great design for you. So what about Webflow? Webflow has everything inside one box, and I still think to this day that the pricing that you can access to Webflow is actually really fair for everything you're getting. Webflow sits on AWS as many other no-code tools, so it's very scalable. And I think you kind of get a initial website for like $15 a month or something like that, and then it goes up to like $30 a month if you want the CMS. So again, as I'm mentioning, for everything you get, which I'm going to describe right now, it's a very, very interesting price where you simply pay to get a platform where you don't have to worry about anything. especially nothing like everything I just mentioned, like all the WordPress stuff you have to worry about. AWS not only makes Webflow really scalable for like large traffic websites, but also that will mean you'll have, essentially high performance guaranteed, which is something that it's not very easy to achieve if you are in a WordPress environment. If you're working with WordPress, you're going to have to be very, very picky when it comes to the hosting. And also you're going to have to be extremely on top of your site when it comes to plugin updates, software updates, etc. Because usually those are the things related to maintenance that actually make a WordPress site slow in time. Besides being scalable and high performing, Webflow also has a really cool CMS you can customize to your needs. All of this comes with the fact that Webflow is really safe. In this case, it's different to WordPress because all of the stuff that I mentioned before when it comes to maintenance also is related a lot to security. It is very common to hear stories where large WordPress websites that are not very well maintained get security breaches or simply get hacked. That's not going to happen to you in Webflow. Not a chance. And last but not least, Webflow is also really optimized when it comes to SEO, so you're not going to have any limitations over there. Now, I still think WordPress is really good on specific contexts, especially if you have an e-commerce business. And even though Webflow has its own e-com solution, in my opinion, still in 2025, WordPress is much better as a solution for e-com businesses. You might consider something like Shopify, which is also beautiful. But again, I think WordPress is just a great way to run an e-com business, and you'll be able to build a really, really custom website. Also, I think WordPress is great when your business depends on a huge website that has a bunch of dynamic content. And then also you will need like a bunch of dynamic templates, components, and custom design. So in that case, I think WordPress is also a really robust solution. Probably you'll need a really high skilled team of developers specialized in WordPress to build something like this and then maintain. But if that's the case, it's probably worth it. And last but not least, I think WordPress is still great in 2025 to use themes. You can build your own themes, as I mentioned before, but also there's just thousands and thousands of options of premium themes you can buy. And there are a bunch of companies that are really good at building great WordPress themes. So if that's the case and you don't really need to do like a hyper custom design, then WordPress is great. For anything else, Webflow is definitely king. High converting landing pages or even entire funnels, company websites, blogs, or dynamic based content, sites that get updated on a regular basis from a visual perspective are just great for Webflow. Like you can have really complex designs made in Figma, and then even thanks to the Figma to Webflow plugin, the passage from one tool to the other will just be extremely easy for an experienced Webflow developer, making kind of updating your site really fast. Membership websites, and you can go deeper by building really complex sites that actually kind of work like even custom web apps with tools like Weist by FinSuite. To sum this up, I think what I would say is that picking over Webflow really depends on your context. And this is my main reason behind what I said earlier in the video, which is why I think Webflow is perfect for most businesses out there. You will want to pick Webflow when you don't have anyone in your team who's technical enough to get into WordPress and solve things, or when you don't even have like a WordPress team, either internally in your business or actually externally. I've seen dozens of clients in my own agency that came to us asking for help in their WordPress websites because essentially they were sites that got built back in the day by someone they hired, and now they don't have their contact anymore, or they don't want to work with them anymore, and they don't know what to do. And then their site has like security breaches, it doesn't work, it's very low performing, they just can't update it, or they can't build this new design they've been working on for the past half year. So in that case, Webflow really solves the thing. You can have a Webflow account that allows you to have 1 or 10 or 25 websites all under one roof. That's very safe, highly scalable, and you can essentially build whatever type of website
you want.
So there you go. This is my suggestion on why you should take all your business websites into Webflow. And again, my heart is still with WordPress because back in the day, it was a beautiful tool for me. But in 2025, I would definitely suggest you get out of WordPress and migrate to Webflow. Thanks for watching.